Okay, we are live streaming, and guys, welcome. So, I wanted to hop on a little bit earlier and just chat it up with the brand with the video guys. We are going to be doing the live stream, or excuse me, the question and answer session in about an hour from now. So, if you're watching this and you're like, "Wait a minute, I thought you guys said 5 p.m. Eastern," you are correct. We're going to start that at 5 p.m. But I really just wanted to hop on with these guys and allow some conversations so you guys can get to know the team and just know a little bit more about them. They are going to be moderators in the real deal moving forward. So you guys are going to see a lot of these guys. And I think that it's important that you get to know them a little bit. So with that said, what's going on, guys? How are you guys doing?
Yo,
What's up,
yo.
David?
What
Happy
up?
to be here, man.
What up? What up?
Yeah.
Doing great.
Hey, how's the weather out in Colorado, man? Is it as hot as it is here in Texas? Because I feel like everybody's going through a heat wave.
It's
Okay,
hot.
so speaking from experience, because I used to live in Texas for about 13 years, it is 10 times worse in Texas because there's humidity. But right now, I would say they're almost mano to mano. Like it's pretty high up there. Some days, it's like 90, 95. So it's pretty hot. But I'll let the other guys chip in here and see what they think.
So wait, before we get to the other guys, so you lived in just north of where I live, up in the Killeen area, Fort Hood. So I know that area pretty well. Obviously, we're just chatting about it because I was in the army and we
Mhm.
did a lot of training there. But what were you doing there? Like your family lived there, or what was the deal?
Yeah, so long story short, I was born in Curacao in the Caribbean islands, and what happened was my mother met my stepdad, and we ended up moving to Texas. We ended up moving here to the USA, home of the free, and we ended up moving to Texas, Fort Hood, because that's where my stepdad owned a house. So I technically grew up in Fort Hood, and went to school there, all that good stuff, and you know. Right after I graduated high school, maybe a few years after that, I ended up meeting Jay and Rob. We got split up when we were younger. So long story short, I ended up meeting them, and then I flew to Colorado, and now I'm here.
That's such a cool story, man. That's really cool that you guys reconnected and then now you guys are actually doing big things, which is awesome. So I'm confused. There's Expedias everywhere, right? And we got a couple of almost the same names. Can
Yeah.
you guys clarify this for us? Because I want to make sure there's no confusion. Somebody tagged Jay or somebody tagged Robert, and they said I'm not sure which one's which. So help us out here so we understand.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. So, we were, Jay, Robert, and myself, we're all brothers by blood. Jay and I have the same father and the same mother. And then Robert and then Jay and I, we have separate mothers. So Robert has a different mother than we did. And it was just kind of a thing. Um, Jay and I ourselves, we were also born in the Caribbean. So we were born in an island in St. Martin. So we all were kind of like late bloomers coming into the United States, the land of opportunity. We all came around the same time too, around the 2008 time. And we were actually really close when we were growing up together. We were all really close. And it's just a traditional culture thing, that mothers pass on the name of the first. And there's just some things. Our birth father is not necessarily in the picture. And so, we're doing everything we can to make sure that we turn the name into something that is worth being proud of. But yeah, it's a traditional thing. The oldest gets the name and things like that. And so, and then there was some confusion between confusion between the mother the different women that my birth father was with, and so that's kind of how all that came to be. But full love, full acceptance all the way around. And yeah, like Robert said, we were separated for about 12 years. We didn't
Wow.
like speak to each other at all. We didn't even know like about each other's lives. We didn't know anything whatsoever. And then, out of the blue, Robert took a step. He reached out to Jay and I, and we were like, wow, this is crazy. And he's like, I'm gonna come see you guys. And we're like, okay, come see us. And I still remember this day. Jay, we were going to pick him up from the airport, and we were like, this is surreal. This is crazy. Like, this is our brother. Haven't seen him in years. Haven't heard from him in years. And that very same evening, everything clicked. We knew that we were destined to do things together, that we were
Yo,
connected, and there was just no denying it that we were brothers.
Dude.
After being just far away from each other for so long, coming back that one day, it solidified everything. It felt like we knew everything about each other. And we shared a lot to each other that very first day, like less than 6 hours, man. And it was fantastic. So anywho, that's kind of a little bit of the story. But yeah, if you see a Speedy in there, then feel free to ask, any questions regarding micro content. We all want to help you regardless of who it is.
Such a cool story. Such a cool story. And then you guys are reconnected. You guys are doing big things and taking the family name and make it into something big. I appreciate it. Now it's a whole lot easier for us to know who Andrew is. Andrew
Right.
sticks out here. So Andrew, let me ask you something, dude. How did you get linked up with these dudes?
Yeah, I am the brother from another mother,
There we
as
go.
we always call it. So me and Jay actually grew up a little bit together. We've kind of been buddies since like 6th grade. So went to the same middle school, went to the same high school. Just always rocking with each other. And we actually used to be big in the fitness space, a lot more into it back then, and then got really big into videography, and now getting back into fitness a little bit here and there too. So me and Jay just kind of met in school, and then we all got connected because right out of high school, me and Jay was going to school to be a personal trainer, and we were working at gyms together. And eventually we were all just filming content of each other and with Rob, and we were in real estate and everything. And so after just filming just a bunch of videos for each other, we were like, okay, wait a minute, we should start our like video production business together. And so that's kind of how we all got looped in together, and we've been rocking and rolling ever since.
Dude, that's awesome. That's so cool. And what's so cool is that you guys just put together such an awesome team. Like you guys vibe so well. I watch you guys, kind of how you guys, just communicate and collaborate and interact with each other. And I'm like, dang, dude, these guys are on top of it, which is awesome. So anyways, everybody that's watching the Facebook group, this is not the question and answer session. I'm going to say it again. That way nobody gets confused. The question and answer session is going to start in about 50 minutes or so. I thought I would just hop on with these guys so that you guys can get to know a little bit more about them. Again, they're going to be moderators in the Real Deal moving forward. So you guys are going to see a lot of these guys. Obviously, they got their own program, the micro content mastery, which we'll talk about more. But these guys are micro content, like on the cutting edge of this tidal wave that is coming through. And one of the things, guys, that kind of really solidifies in my mind is the pivot that you guys made, say 2 years ago, and really started to understand where the direction of video was going to go within a corporate kind of realm, and how this micro content was going to change the game for businesses, for us, for video professionals. And I'm very impressed because there's a quote from Wayne Gretzky. Somebody had asked him, like, you weren't the fastest skater, you weren't the most athletic, why were you the greatest? He always said, it's not because I went to where the puck was, I went to where the puck was going. And you guys had this vision to see kind of where the direction of the video world was going. And now you guys are crushing $40,000 in retainers every single month. That's obviously going to grow. You guys got a full on built out team, but you guys made that transition 2 years ago. You guys understood that it was changing. How did you guys know that? Like, what did you guys see that made you say, okay, this is where we're going to kind of stick our feet and really dig into?
It's a great question. I think there was, a lot going on that pushed us in that direction. But I know one of the things was, if you guys remember 2 years ago, 2020, that was the prime of COVID, right? Businesses getting shut down, everyone's broke, no one wants to spend money. And there was a lot of scarcity in the air, right? So we were still doing our best. We were on LinkedIn, we were on Facebook, we were learning from this group. We were learning from everywhere on how to make more money. We were just trying to make enough money to pay rent. At the time, we all lived together. All of our girlfriends lived together. We were all sharing. And it wasn't the smallest house, but we had enough space for each other, but it wasn't ideal, right? We were just really trying to save money and make money because we barely were making anything. So we're trying to sell these big packages, $2,000, $5,000 videos, and we're getting rejected quite a bit. Hey, that's not possible right now. It's COVID. Do you not look outside your window? Everyone's broke. Like, what are you doing? And we're getting very discouraged because we're like, man, we know what our services are worth. We know what our time's worth. We're showing up with 4 guys to shoot these videos. Like, we're editing this for 30 hours, 40 hours. We know this is worth at least $2,000. But there was just a disconnect with the client's mind. So that was a portion of it. Another portion was that at the time, everything we've done has always been organic. So we've worked with other companies who do like the paid ad side of things, and our content definitely helps with that. But we haven't fully drove like deep into that area, and we respect that area a lot. So when we would make these videos that are so highly produced, they would do good, and it was usually the best video that our clients would post. The brand message video, their story, all those things. But it would die out after a week or two, and it's like, okay, great, they made big splash, but there wasn't too much happening. So we realized there was a disconnect. We knew our time was worth at least $2,000 to $5,000 to show up all of us and to edit this. So a solution that came about was, hey, instead of charging less or trying to do whatever, we, in the same time that we're filming these big videos, we can actually break it down and film 8 to 10 different videos, and it's still going to take us 40 hours to edit this. And on top of that, the clients have 8 to 10 opportunities to potentially get a viral video, to potentially get in front of more faces, more leads, if they're following all the other strategies that we have in place, which is adding people to your Facebook, to your LinkedIn. So you're getting people to watch the content. So that was a huge connection piece that happened, like, again, 2 years ago. And we were like, okay, well, let's just try selling these micro content packages instead. And the first package that we kind of put together at the time was $2,000 for a minimum of 2 months. And it was 8 videos. We were charging $250 per month for each video, 8 videos per month. And essentially it was posting twice a week is what the clients would do. So that was kind of the starter package. We try to incorporate a brand message video at the end. The 3rd month we would do, your story with the testimonials, all those amazing things. And that's how we differentiated it. So we're like, Mrs. Jones, right? Everyone loves that. Mrs. Jones, let's start by priming your accounts for 2 months, getting content out there, showing people who you are, you're an expert. And then we hit them with this bigger produced video that's actually going to drive results to your business. And it's actually going to convert all the people that we've been nurturing for 2 months. So when we started doing that, we started getting a ton more yeses. People were like, oh my gosh, only $250 a video. That makes a lot of sense. But we were also not spending any more time on set. It was, very short shoots, 2 to 4 hours. So we were actually making more money. And then when we figured out the last piece, which was getting the editing system down, that's when everything really took off. Because we're like, wow, now we can make thousands of dollars to just show up and film. The editing is being done once, because we trained our team to do it the way that we did it, and we're profiting on top of that for the editing system. So that really unlocked this concept that we really value and operate our entire business from, which is win-win-wins, right? It was a win for the client. They're getting an affordable price. They're getting great content, more chances to get their message out there. We're getting paid more than we were getting paid before. And we're able to create opportunities for our team, our editors, to also, provide for their families. So that was kind of the trifecta, if you will, 3 wins. We were like, oh man, is this Illuminati? What is this? The stars are aligning. Everything made sense. And we just went all in on it. So that's kind of the backstory.
Let me ask you about that kind of first deal that you guys landed, right? So you guys transitioning from what you were trying to do and now trying to sell the micro content packages. The first retainer deal that you guys pulled in, can you give me a little bit, if you remember, can you give me a little details of like the dollar amount? Was it $2,000 per month? Was that the one that you were just talking about?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So when you guys landed that, how did you guys as a team kind of collaborate to make that happen? Like who landed the client, who filmed, who edited, who distributed? Like, how did that work for you guys?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the first one, like many things, when you don't have much guidance or structure or systems in place,
no one was teaching this.
It was very hectic. Exactly. Like we were like, okay, so, shared the lead came in from LinkedIn. They happened to check out my account. I got on a call with them, closed the deal. And then we all showed up to film it, all 4 of us. We went to different locations, Garden of the Gods. I mean, we way overdid the first one. We were really, let me remind you, first deal post-COVID, right? For like 3 months, we didn't close anything. we were starving. So we were like, all right, this is the one client. We got to do our best, give it our all. And we definitely way overdid it. I mean, we overshot. We did a micro content in a different location, every different location. We tried moving shots, walking shots, all the whole 9 yards, setting up lightings outdoors. Like we did everything.
You should see those videos.
Yeah, I could probably pull him up here. His name is
Yeah,
Tim. Great guy.
They're
Great
fire videos. They're fire videos.
But yeah, and they were way too long as well. That's another thing. They were like 3 minutes. So they weren't really micro contents. They were almost VBCs on their own, like 3-4 minute long videos. And it was just not fully well thought out. So after that first execution, I remember we all came back to the same house. Remember, we all lived in the same house. And we just looked at each other. And it was a hot day too. It was April. So it was like right as, COVID hit February. There was like right in the deep of it, 2 to 3 months going into May. It was hot already. And we were just beat, man. We were like, bro, like this is tough. Like, what are we doing? So yeah, we got smarter as we went. But to answer your question, that first one, there was no structure. We way overdid it, and we probably lost. I mean, there wasn't much money to lose, but we probably lost more on that deal than we actually did.
So a bit of a learning curve for sure, right? And that's with anything, right? Whenever you position yourself or repivot yourself or whatever it is, you go into something new. It's always a learning curve. And either you learn the hard way, which is you getting out there and doing it, or you learn from somebody else. Somebody can teach you. You learn from other experiences and whatnot. But you guys just flat out jumped into it and tried to figure it out yourself. Fast forward 2 years now, you guys have $40,000 in monthly retainers, which I can do math. If you guys are watching, do the math, 40,000 times 12. And that's not even to say that you guys are not going to continue to add people to or clients to that book of business that you already have. Jay, let me ask you this, or actually let me go to Rob. Can you kind of give us some examples of the type of different clients that you guys have on your books right now, industry wise? Like, what are you guys filming for mostly?
Yeah, today.
Yeah.
Mostly, yeah. So a majority, one thing that we're very proud of, and I also want to give credit where credit is due. Yeah, Jay was the one who started the movement of doing remote work. I in the previous life I was in real estate, and so I had some connections in the real estate industry, and so that's kind of how I realized that realtors would be a great candidate for that. So that's actually one of the clients that we have right now as well is the real estate industry. But Jay ended up working with these course creators that ended up keeping the team for like a year and a half, and it was just something that was like. And it was something that was just kind of in the background. They were paying month over month over month over month. It was just editing. And, it was the most profitable. It was very steady, but throughout the time too, we were also closing other deals, right? Like 3K a month, 5K a month throughout the entire team. But yeah, so fast forward to today, 75 to 80% of our business is remote. And so we work a lot with people who have online businesses. We work with a few agencies. We work with high ticket experts, so coaches, people in the fitness industry who sell high ticket packages, people in the real estate industry who sell high ticket packages for coaching. So even though the real estate, it's coaching. And then we still work with some like local, brick and mortar businesses. Again, real estate agent, chiropractor. We actually have a chiropractor client that we do micro content with as well. Painting companies that we do, micro content with. So we work with some brick and mortar, but I mean, the true thing that we found out 2 years ago, because the thing that Jay didn't mention was that the very first batch of micro content we ever made was actually for ourselves. The very first one, we literally sat up in the living room. We were filming at 2-3 o'clock in the morning. Our girlfriends were asleep. They weren't very happy about the whole thing. And we were literally like helping each other film these micro content videos. Like we're like, this is what's going to get us attention and get us business. And so Jay posted his micro on LinkedIn, and that's kind of, got a guy who reached out, and then everything else started trickling, that way as well. But truth be told, every single business who any business whatsoever can use micro content, because every single year it is becoming more of a necessity and mandatory for you to be active on social media, right? You could get away with it last year, but if you fast forward 5 years from now, you can't get away from it. And so micro content is the best product if you want to be active on social media. So essentially any business that wants to be active on social media is a good candidate for micro content. But yeah, a majority of the businesses that we work with now are online. So we have like 3-4 different marketing agencies that we work with. We help with their clients. One thing that we haven't talked a whole lot about, but that we've developed is the ability to build, very fruitful partnerships. We have a lot of agencies that we do white labeling deals with that are not included in the micro content retainer that we're talking about, that they do $50,000-$60,000 a year with us as well. And so it's just building those relationships. But again, marketing agencies, online coaches, course creators, that's like a big one. And different industries. So like if they teach something online, like they're a great candidate for micro content. And then we work with some local businesses as well, chiropractors and real estate agents and painting companies.
Very cool. Very cool. So I'm not going to ask this question because I know that it's going to be asked during the question and answer session about the whole remote thing, like how you guys start that up and like how you get the ability to do that. So we'll cover that in the question and answer session, but it is interesting to know that the majority of your work is remote. I find that very, very fascinating. And quite honestly, COVID's turned this world into a remote world more than it ever has been. And again, you guys are at the cutting edge of that, which I'm super fascinated by. So whoever's watching this live stream, your assignment for tonight is to hop onto the question and answer session and ask these guys how they actually broke into that and how they actually execute on doing remote filming. I want to go to Robert and Andrew and talk about TikTok and talk about Instagram Reels and all this newfangled stuff that old guys like me are like, man, this is a little bit, how do you guys work this into business? Why is TikTok and Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts so important? And how does it capture an audience better than other forms of content? I want to ask Robert and Andrew this, so you guys can tag team this one.
Okay, dope. So the main thing is that TikTok really changed the way that information is being delivered nowadays, right? So and the way that is that you essentially want to create and give value in the shortest amount of time possible. So really TikTok changed the game in that way. And that's where, business owners are at. A lot of people don't think that business owners are on TikTok, but in reality, they really are. So the main thing really is just providing value in the shortest amount of time possible and just adapting to this new wave, this new format of the way you deliver information. And you can do this with your longer form content as well. Like you can repurpose it. But the main thing you want to remember is to also be able to create a hook and still keep the videos under a minute long. So that's really the main thing. I'm going to bounce it up to Andrew.
Nice. Yeah, well said. One of the things that I want to also touch on is when you think of TikTok and Instagram Reels and stuff, don't always think of it as like the cheesy trends and like the people pointing at the text and all that. Think of it as like actually short, valuable content. And that's what the business side of it, that's what the business owners are consuming. And you want to use your short form content to then lead into your long form content, your sales content, your trifectas, testimonials, all that short form content just gets massive exposure and leads them to the long form content, which helps them develop the relationship, which helps them ultimately become a customer. And so that's where I would say the short form is the relationship with the long form.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Go ahead, Robert.
Just wanted to add one more thing to that. For anyone watching this, think about short form content as being as the top of the funnel, right? So like Andrew mentioned, they're watching your short form content and you can actually redirect them to your longer form content or to your webinars, which then, you can book a call. So, and another thing too, is that short form content is a lot easier to create than long form content, and it's free. So, guys, create short form content.
So one of the things, guys, that I get asked a lot, right, is people that want to land retainer deals and they can't get out of their way in their head and thinking, okay, well, I've got 2 videos or 3 videos. Like I'm going to create a trifecta, right? I'm going to create a brand message video, 2 testimonials and a promo. What else do I create? Right. And I'm like, what do you mean? What else do you create? Like there's so many different types of stuff that you can create, but the micro content is one of those things that you can pile on top, right? And it can be over and over every month and every month and every month that you can add to this. Now, what I find is very interesting about micro content and the way that you guys are using it, as opposed to like paid ad campaigns, is that you're putting it out there and the organic reach is starting to really get dialed in. And I think, and you guys are the experts on this, so, Jay, Rob, let me know. But, from my understanding, what I'm starting to see is that the platforms like TikTok and Instagram are prioritizing people's interests. And that allows us to target people without having to do paid ad campaigns. Whereas if you run an ad, you can actually target them, obviously, because you're paying them to do that. But the organic reach is starting to get dialed in to do that. And the micro content is something that you guys can produce and put out there and actually have some positive results. Talk to me about that a little bit, Jay, in the direction that Instagram and TikTok and social media in general is going. Like, how does the micro content fit in effectively on this?
No, that you're 100% right, David. The algorithms, keyword there, is really, really getting smarter over time, and people have a love-hate relationship with it, and it's because they don't understand it. It's because they don't value it, and they're not willing to put in the work to get the algorithm on your side, right? Mm-hmm. But the algorithm, I think, is very similar to what you said. It wants to find people who want to watch your content, because the only goal of TikTok and Instagram and Facebook, of their organic algorithm, is to get people to stay on their app, right? So if you have content that is really good, really engaging, really short, people are watching it twice, people are sending it to their friend because they're like, hey, you should watch this quick little video. The algorithm says, wow, this is a really great piece of content. It's getting conversations. It's getting people to stay on the app. Let's show it to more people, because the last thing TikTok wants is for someone to click on a video. Let's say they see my video and it's a terrible video, and they're like, oh my gosh, this guy Jay did such a bad job with this video that I'm going to click off TikTok and try to find something better on Instagram. That's the last thing TikTok wants to happen. So when you learn to get on the side of the algorithm and say, hey, algorithm, let's be friends here. You help me, I help you. I make the best content that I can to keep people on your app. You show it to more people for me. That's when it becomes a really win-win situation. And the only way to get there, though, is through a ton and a ton of consistency. Because unlike the paid campaigns that you can run where you're like, all right, target this, target that, the free stuff, the organic algorithm, it's not as nice. It's not, because it's not getting compensated for it, right? It's like, hey, if I see your video, I see it. If I don't, I don't. And the algorithm is busy. So there's little tricks and tips that you can do to help boost it. And we'll definitely talk about that. We talked about a ton of the course, but I'll give you a quick little tip: getting your friends and family to like it and share it and comment on it within ideally the first 10 minutes, but really within the first hour. And then you replying to all the comments back within that first hour tells the algorithm that there's a lot of conversation happening, right? And then it's going to boost your post a little bit more. And then hopefully it gets seen by the right people. So to answer the question, yes, they're getting better. The algorithm is better. And really, it's always been there, and it's always been good to people who have good content. So it's not about the algorithm hates me, is how can I make my content better so that the algorithm wants to promote it?
Okay, guys, if you're watching on the Facebook group, again, I'm just going to make this very clear. This is not the question and answer session. That's going to start in a half an hour. I just decided to hop on with these guys, chat it up with them a little bit so you guys can get to know them a little bit better, but bring all of your questions to the question and answer session. Anything from how to lead generate for your business, how to create micro content for yourself, how to edit, like how to manage that stuff, how to distribute. Like, these guys are going to be available to answer those questions starting in about a half an hour. So make sure to come to that. Remember that the Zoom room only holds 100 people. So if you get denied, that's because you didn't get in early enough. And you can just watch here on the Facebook Live if you're not able to get into the Zoom room. Guys, one of the things that I'm starting to focus on is really trying to find something that I enjoy filming, that's fun to film, right? And I feel like this micro content stuff just looks so dang fun to work with, right? Like you guys can hop in there, make a whole bunch of stuff, make a whole bunch of videos, high energy, lots of good vibes. Like, what do you guys feel like? Do you guys enjoy like making micro content? What about it is that you guys you dig?
Yeah, great question. I think definitely out of everything that we do, micro content is probably the product that we definitely enjoy the most. And I think one of the reasons is just because it really goes into that win-win-win situation that Jay was talking about. Um, yeah, for those of you who don't know, like another reason why we all get along so well is because we've done all kinds of different studying and developing together, before doing the business. We definitely did some developing in terms of, trying to like get relationships or trying to, be those guys, and personal development and like all of these types of things. And so, with that, like we always want to create something that's a win-win situation. And so micro content definitely is that. And one of the reasons why I recall us initially enjoying to make it was just because of how easy it was, how productized it was, to where it was a more elementary thing to teach somebody else to do, like specifically an editor, right? We love making brand message videos too, David, testimonial videos. But the thing is, as you do more of those videos, behind the brand videos, the skill level and the necessary amount of like talent to do that keeps going up and up and up. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's why there's only so many people who can make great brand message videos, right? This community, right? This community is obviously the best brand message video makers and everywhere else, right? But that level of talent goes up. And so when we were able to just kind of devote our entire energy to creating a great product for the client while we're there, keeping energy up, and then just knowing that once we get home, we can just organize footage and send it off, that is a much better feeling than riding at the back of a car at 55 miles an hour, the way we do for car commercials, than doing than doing stuff that airs on TV, because we've done a lot of that as well. Like the thing that I want to be transparent is we tried all kinds of stuff, and like we got really good at all kinds of things, all kinds of creating videos, like brand message videos, testimonials. We have the same way we are so structured with micro content. We have structures for brand message videos, for scripting, for testimonials, for which questions to ask in which order, the way we go get B-roll, the way that we work with white labeling agencies, all of these things we figured out. But micro content by far has been the most leveraged. And that is what you should have fun for sure doing what you're doing. But if you can create something that, in and out, it's going to look the same each and every single time. You send it off to your editors and they know exactly what they need to do. You send it up to the client. They know exactly what they should be looking out for. That peace of mind, that freedom that comes from that allows you to think about doing other stuff, right? And that's why we're trying to encourage micro content as well, is because, there's other creators who want to make all kinds of other things as well, whether it's documentaries or if you're anything like us, we're the next chapter in our books is our personal brands, things like that you can only actually truly tackle with a passion and with like the right resources and time, if you have a business that is working well, that is functioning, that is spitting out cash, and that the deliverables are essentially the same thing. And that was the goal, so yes, micro content is fun. It's definitely the most fun to make as well. There's less pressure on the client, there's less pressure on us, there's just less pressure all the way around. And then, the results compound. The longer you do it, the better it gets. But yeah, micro content is fun. But I think the funnest thing about having that as a product is when it becomes productized and it becomes kind of like an assembly, the peace of mind and everything else that comes from that allows you to go pursue other things, whether it's you want to make documentaries, you want to make car commercials, you want to blow up on TikTok, you want to build a personal brand. It will allow you to do that. So
let me ask you a little bit more about that.
Yeah.
It allowing you to do that. One of the things that I know for sure in my business that allows me to do half the stuff that I do is the positive cash flow that's coming in from having retainer deals, right? Like knowing every single month I have X amount of dollars coming in, and that's going to happen because it's already there. It's already set up. It's already on retainer. What does that do for y'all's business when you got $40,000 coming in, when you have a streamlined system that allows you to do this very efficiently and still have time to go out and do either get more clients or go work on your personal brand or go work on what does that do for your business knowing that you guys got that income coming in?
Yeah.
I'm going to touch on that real quick. I'd say one of the big things that has been huge that I think has separated us from maybe the typical word creative to more of just business entrepreneurs is being able to, like Rob said, productize, what we're doing. But to really have it be systemized. And I remember we used to really just pride ourselves in, oh, we can create this masterpiece of artwork and it's beautiful and no one can ever replicate this. And that was fantastic. But we quickly got burnt out from that, right? Because we weren't exactly the most passionate about building someone else's brand. We wanted to do it for ourselves. That's the truth. We wanted to see ourselves in front of these videos. And every time we would edit one for a client, we're like, man, why didn't we do this for ourselves? If we got paid $5,000 for it, and we did this for ourselves, we could have made $10,000 from it. So that was always a big thing in the back of our mind. And when we figured out that we can create, a real business from it, I think that was one of the biggest things that helped with all that. So to answer your question, what does that do for our business? Now we actually feel like a business, not as creatives. So with that, we can predict revenue for future months. Whereas before we used to say, okay, you guys ready to start from zero again? See how we can build this up? Can we do 40K next month? Now we're like, all right, guys, we got 40K coming in. How can we add another 40K to that to make it 80K? And then that compounds 120, right? So that's the number one biggest benefit is we're not worried about paying rent anymore, right? We're worried. There's new worries, of course, but we know now we can predict and we can actually say, all right, guys, how can we get close to hitting that magic number everyone wants, $1 million a year, right? How can we actually get close to that? Where before we used to think, man, we got to sell 20 brand message videos and this and that, like to even get there. And the next month we got to do it all over again. This becomes a lot more streamlined. Another thing that it allows us to do with our business is we're able to hire talent now, and we know that we can take care of them, right? So not only can we pay our own bills and we can predict revenue to try to make more money, but we know for sure we can take care of our team and we can get the work to be done through the team, if that makes sense. So now I can add in another element, which is profit. And I think that's one of the biggest things that before we were doing all the work and we were trying to do it all every single month. So it's really how much can we do so we can make the most amount of money, but that's not really profit. If you're doing all the work, you're not really profiting. Mm-hmm. When you have a business and a team that can, take the work on, then you profit as a business owner for setting up that system, which is another huge thing that I think was mind blowing to us. I'll add this little piece because I don't know who's watching this, but for the longest time, like I said, we really prided ourselves in just being so creative, so artistic, like just Picasso with the keyboard. Like, man, we were really thought we were something, watching Daniel Schiffer videos, like doing the B-roll, doing it all, man. We were really killing the game, right? And we just realized like that isn't what's going to get us to that $1 million. That isn't what's going to create sustainability for our business and for our team. And ultimately, the goal of a business is to make money, right? Mm-hmm. I remember this is a quote from Shark Tank. And this is real. It's if you want to do something good for the world, go start a charity, which I encourage everyone watching. You should start a charity. If you want to make money, then you start a business, right? So the entire mindset shift that really happened for us when we started getting these retainer clients was we're operating as a business now. We're not operating as creatives or individual independent contractors, or we no longer own jobs. If you've read Rich Dad Poor Dad, right? If you have a job, then you own a job. Now we actually own a business. And the next step, of course, is, become an investor and et cetera, et cetera. But really the goal of the whole reason we started this company is financial freedom. The same reason we all, want to work. None of us really want to work. I'm sure if we can just hang out with our families and be in Hawaii all day with our mom and our dads and our kids and our, that's what we would do all the time. But we have to work. We have to make money. And when we unlocked this shift really into getting these retainer clients, it opened up so many doors for us and really just showed us the potential.
There's a big thing here that you get, like, Jay, I'm impressed at you guys, because so many creatives never think like a business owner, right? And like you said, they just want to be Picasso. They just want to dig into their passion. There's nothing wrong with that. And I'm always like, if you want to do that, but you don't want to run a business, go work for somebody that's going to get you the clients, that's going to run the business for you, or, and then you can be the creator. But if you want to be on your own, you got to think like a business owner. That's just the way it is, right? You got to profit. If you don't profit, guess what? Out of business. That's what happens. So that's really awesome that you guys made that shift. I'm going to go ahead and ask one question of each of you guys, and then we're going to cut this off so we can, reset for the question and answer session. Again, everybody that's watching right now, in about 15 minutes or so, 20 minutes, we're going to hop into the question and answer Zoom room. You guys bring all of your micro content questions for the Brand with Video guys. They're going to answer everything from lead generation, creation, editing, those crispy edits. Is that what you said, Robert?
Yep.
That crisp.
Yes, sir.
That's what's up.
They crisp.
So they answer all those questions. I try not to ask too many of that stuff because I know there's going to be a ton of questions. But real quick, just in a nutshell, super fast, I want to go around the horn. And if you could pick like one specific client or person or company that you could create micro content for, what would it be? Right. So we're just going to round robin. So I feel like Rob's probably got somebody in mind. Rob, who would you create micro content for if you had the ultimate opportunity to do so?
That's a great question. I think what's funny is I'll say this. The people who I aspire to be the most, those who motivate me the most as far as entrepreneurship and, role models, they're already making micro content, so they don't have the gap. But if I could, I could see myself making micro content for big names in the online space, like Alex Hermosi, Ryan Pineda. Those are the guys who definitely motivated us to kind of do that. And then, and even kind of, especially recently, he has a lot of people who make content for him, but like Andrew Tate, he's very polarizing. You kind of love or hate him, but if you were able, at least me personally, if you're able to kind of see through some of that stuff, he talks about some things that do need to be said in society nowadays. And the biggest reason why I would love to create that content is because I like to see that stuff firsthand, before it goes out there. And that's why we love working with people in the expert-based industry, because we always learn something from all of these videos. Our team, our editors, they learn something. That's cool. That's just like a value add to everybody. So those would be some of the people I would love to create some micro content for, outside of myself.
Robert, you can't pick any of the people he just said.
Cool. So are we looking for people, or are we looking for like
whatever?
Okay,
like,
so I would say the best people honestly to work with would be like high ticket coaches who have like a high ticket service or offer. And the reason that is because when you create that micro content for them, you can almost like not guarantee, of course, you never want to guarantee anything, but you can get them a return on that investment, that they're making for creating these short form pieces of content. So for anyone out there watching, definitely I would say pursue working with a high ticket coach or someone, who has a high ticket product as well.
Okay.
Nice.
Andrew, who would you pick?
I like that. One of the things I would say is I really like Rob, how he said that expert based. Another thing that I always try and look out for is what type of audience do they already have? So if you're trying to talk to someone that maybe doesn't have the biggest audience, it can still happen. You can still help them with micros, but it happens quicker when they do already have an audience. So I'll throw out there and say I always enjoy and fascinated with just sales and persuasion. So any type of sales coaches, anything like that would be perfect for micros. Jay, we'll get in touch. I'll make you some micros.
Okay.
And then, that would be mine. Probably some sales like coaches and programs and stuff.
Okay. Awesome. And last but not least, Jay, who would you pick?
Literally took them all, man. I don't even know. Literally,
come on, man.
See Goozy.
Yeah, I mean, high ticket coaches, high leverage business owners who, trust me, they're not looking at the pay stub when they're sending out $3 to $5 grand a month, because they know it's creating that return. They're already ahead of the game. So it's really a mindset thing that we look for clients, not even specific roles, just what mindset are they in? What kind of game are they playing? Are they playing a big game or small games? And we try to look for people in the big space, man. So
Hey,
that's it.
I thought for sure somebody was gonna say some athlete, or so you guys grew up in the gym together. Like I was like, man, somebody's gonna
Right.
say athlete here. All good though. Okay, guys, we're gonna hop over to the other room. I will say, I am so dang impressed by you guys. I know all of you guys are in your early 20s, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
impressive. We've got some people, and I say this all the time. We got some people in our group. You guys, Will Hamilton, Mason, Ridge, Tyler, like we got some dudes in their young 20s, and you guys are light years ahead of where a lot of people like me were in my early 20s. And I can totally see you guys being the Alex Hermosis of the future, and all those dudes that you just listed. That's going to be y'all in like 5, 6, 7 years. You guys are going to be at the top of the game. So make sure not to forget about us small dudes when you guys are at the top.
Never, David.
It's too kind,
you
brother.
guys.
That's too kind.
Let's go ahead and hop over. Okay, if you're in the mastermind in the collective, I've already posted the Zoom link. You guys can start funneling into that now. It's already in the app, so hop in if you want the spot. Again, there's only 100 spaces available. And if you are watching in the Facebook group, I am about to go and post the Zoom link there. That'll be up in about, I'd say about 7 minutes or so. And then we will do a full-on question and answer session, everything about micro content. These guys are they're gonna drop it. They're gonna drop the fire. So crispy fire. Okay, guys,
Nice.
I appreciate y'all's time. Let's go ahead and switch over to the other room, and we'll knock this out.
Cool.
Awesome.
Thank you, everyone.
See you.
Perfect.
See you guys there.
Great to see everyone. See you there.